Boo. You can barely see me, but I'm still here. So I was thinking of stuff that I might say to my past self, younger, and I was thinking like, here's something I'd say. Even though it feels like the modern day is somehow less real than is somehow less connected or less real or less important, or everything you do is less meaningful than the things people 100, 200 years ago did. 200, 100, 200. Like imagine living in 1825. That sounds so much better than nowadays. And it's not because of lack of technology, no. It's because of the close-knit community, because of the not yet globalized communication. Just because you won't become a myth or a legend in a small community and eventually grow to do better and bigger, more. Just basically, even though everything feels unimportant, just remember, you're still on the same earth as those people 100 and 200 years ago were on. That sounds meaningless, right? What does that have to do with ambition? What does that have to do with feeling like disconnected and like there's no community? Well, who said there's no community? Who said you're gonna be forgotten? That's everyone's biggest fear, right? Dying, being forgotten, doing nothing. Everything in this modern world feels so fake. Everything feels so minimalist. Everything is just not real. Those romantics, they had it better. Those people from the classical age, the Greeks, they had it better. They all lived in the most real world. And, one would think like, of course, they lived a more real and authentic life than us. They had so much. Every issue they had was only because the earth decreed it to be an issue, from plagues to animals. But we overtook the earth. We outlasted the earth's decrees. Our intelligence completely destroyed everything the earth could throw at us. So now all of our modern ails, they're just annoying, dumb bullshit that humans have with each other, right? Sure, there are tornadoes and earthquakes and shit, volcanoes and whatever. But before shit connected us, now those things just like happen and no one cared. But here's the thing. Those people, what the past constantly tells us about humanity is that you have an impact, even if it's small. If you just do things for you, this is probably the lesson people in the past didn't have to think much about. Because honestly, like, they probably didn't have anyone to even make them think that they weren't doing stuff for themselves. They probably thought the things they were doing were for themselves. Individualism and all that. They're like, this, like, fitting into society is what I'm supposed to do. And everything where I lie about being a super stoic man and when I just basically everything they did was for, like, them. That's what they thought. They didn't have anyone else to tell them otherwise. No psychologist or therapist to tell them how they feel. No theories around, just doing as they do. And what they did was they tried to fit in and be together as a collective. So, basically, just be you. People survived. People lived. And they navigated without any of the technology of the modern day. And we have the technology of the modern day. That means your navigation through this world. Hooray. Just hooray. Imagine if all those people had to navigate through this world. Imagine if the ancient Greeks had to navigate through, instead of thinking of today, think of an ancient Greek living in Britain in 1825. Comparatively, that's just easier for the ancient Greek. Imagine an 19th century Victorian living in modern day America. Comparatively, it's much easier for the Victorian. Just things have gotten a lot easier, and it's gotten a lot easier in every aspect. That doesn't mean anything about the human condition is lost, or that anything is sad now. Instead, you just kind of, you just do. So just do you. Talk about things you care about. And humans, they sometimes dislike what you do, sometimes they don't care, sometimes they think what you do is stupid. And history will label your actions as such. But that doesn't mean you don't do what you do. You just keep doing. People will label your things as things, and then history takes what those people said, and those things are labeled as stuff. Isn't that fun to have any label at all? To be part of the stupid crowd, or the smart crowd, or the mean crowd. To be part of that lineage of those people. That's what's happening. So just be you. Everything you do matters. And as long as you're not trying to make everybody love you, or trying to make history, because let's be honest, nobody really understands how to make history. Just live.